There Is No Godcast, the official podcast of Northern Indiana Atheists. And now, here's your host, Noah Bush.
What's up, all you non-believers, and welcome back to There Is No Godcast, the official podcast of Northern Indiana Atheists. I'm your host, Noah. Let's get right back into it. Today is going to be another show where we don't have a whole lot to talk about outside of material I have already recorded. The National Convention down there in Cincinnati was a treasure trove of material, and today we've got sort of a part two for you guys. Last episode, we aired Mr. Matt Dillahunty's interview that he was gracious enough to do with me. Today, we're going to have another co-host of the Atheist Experience, which is the show Mr. Dillahunty hosts, Phil Session. So that's going to be awesome. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't even tell you how much fun I had talking with Phil. He is the nicest guy possibly in the world. If there was, like a nicest person ever pageant, Phil would definitely be up there in the running, strutting around, showing his nice guy stuff. So he was fantastic to sit and chat with. I remember at the time that we were talking, I wasn't even sure how much time we would have. I don't remember what it was that I was going to get to, but I had something else that I was going to get to. And I think Dan or Troy, one of them kind of worked it out that Phil would talk to me, and then we started chatting, and I'm actually having a really tough time editing the interview because we were chatting for like 5 minutes or so before we even officially started the interview. And I was listening to it and just kind of, laughing and smiling because we were just, man, it was so much fun just hanging out, chatting with him. And then eventually I kind of caught myself and I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, I should probably do like an intro to the interview so we can actually start, separating just him and I shooting the breeze from being on the air. But yeah, so I don't really have much else to say other than just check it out, take a listen. Phil Session, host of the Atheist Experience. So we're going to this is basically like an Atheist Experience double experience. We had Mr. Dillahunty last week. We've got Mr. Session this week. And I really think you guys are going to enjoy it. So without further ado, take a listen. Hey guys, we're back. I am sitting down with Phil Session, right? So there's two Phils. We just had a whole kind of little thing about this. We were talking about one Phil, and I was talking about another Phil. It was a little bit of a comedy of errors, but we've got Phil Session here, and you are a rotating host on the Atheist Experience. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
I guess it's been about almost 3 years now. It'll be probably 3 years this summer, if my memory serves.
Wow. Because I did I'll admit, I did a quick Google of you while you were using the restroom before you came to do the show, and it says on your on the website bio that you're the newest host.
Yes.
So clearly that these spots do not open up very often, right?
No, not for the rotating co-host. That's
sure.
For sure. And so, I was presented with that opportunity, and I've been asked about it several times beforehand, but I wasn't ready to necessarily, put a face out there in such a public way. I was an atheist, identified as such, but I was not ready for that,
right.
I suppose. And after Martin Wagner stopped being a regular co-host, I was asked again to say, like, hey, would you, it's been some time since they've asked. Matt has prompted to me, Russell also prompted to me as well, and I was just like, I'll try it out. Let's see how it goes. I'm not sure if I'll like it. If I don't, then I won't do it again. If so, then I'll keep on going. And I just really enjoyed myself. It was pretty awesome.
What was your level of involvement like leading up to that? Like, how did it come about that they asked you to take on that role? I mean, it would be such an honor, I can imagine, to be asked. What precipitated that?
I mean, I was involved with the crew, so I would be there screening calls, and I was starting to get more adept at the video production side, so actually controlling the cameras and the shots that you see, that changing, as well as the graphics that are at the bottom.
Because you guys do audio and video broadcasting simultaneously.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had been in the background for a while. I'd been coming for a while, going to the after-show dinner, so I was a regular appearance there, but I wasn't involved in the volunteering side. Then I started to say, okay, well, let me start screening calls. Let's get trained on this.
Right.
And so started doing that, and I started doing that repeatedly and just getting more involved. And I think I started getting involved in other aspects for the atheist community of Boston, such as the volunteer aspect, I took over the community service side of things and started doing projects along those lines. And I guess it was just that involvement, being involved with the ACA as much. And so that's kind of one of the things that at least I was told that the current hosts look for when they're looking for a replacement, a permanent replacement, not just a guest host, but somebody that's actually going to be there in the main rotation.
Yeah. So talk to me about some of that, some of your volunteerism. Like, what kind of projects were you involved in?
Oh, sure. My goodness.
You guys can't see his face, but I can tell I've just opened up a treasure trove. We may be here for a while, gang.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but
No, that's good. But this is the kind of stuff I want people to hear, because we're in the northern Indiana area, and I think there's a lot of people. I talk about it on my show a lot. There's this perception that people who are godless are selfish people, that they're not kind people, that they and like I want
they have no reason
right
to go out into the community to make a difference on that. So yeah, it's
right. And you're putting a great face on atheism, man. Like, you're literally out there working hard and like and doing good for goodness sake, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me about some of your work.
So let's see, it's quite a bit. It spans 2 cities, in San Antonio and in Austin. So
is that all? From South Bend, there's like 17 people in South Bend.
Funny. But yes, in San Antonio, I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Freethinkers Association of Central Texas.
Okay.
Or FACT as well, which is a nice little moniker to have.
Yeah,
FACT
nice little
down there in San Antonio. But I started, getting people involved. We were already building ramps. So this is with Texas Ramp Project, where we build wheelchair accessible ramps to people that are low income and disabled in our local area, which is an amazing project.
Yeah.
And I brought that up to Austin with the Atheist community of Austin as well. And we started building ramps as well because there was so much need out there from people that are low income that have become disabled or had a physical disability, because they got into an accident or, whatever.
Or even veterans, and all.
Right. There's a lot of disabled, especially in San Antonio. It's called like the military city because there's so many bases that are there. But we've done several ramps for several disabled veterans, and it's amazing once, the ramp is done and they actually come out of the door and they're able to get down from their door to the street without any other assistance. There are some people that had to be carried out of their house because their physical disabilities did not allow them to do that on their own. And so it's the pictures that you see that we post online when they allow us to take a picture, because some people don't want their picture.
Which is understandable.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing to see them as they're going down. They either in a motorized chair or they're in their own personal wheelchair that they're pushing down, or maybe in a walker getting down there, and they can actually do it themselves.
Sure.
And it's an amazing feeling. So that's down there in San Antonio. But I also get the people, in fact, involved at the food bank, which is one of your big ones that you do. So at
Gotta
the food
eat.
bank, of course. And it serves a huge area down there. That food bank. Down in San Antonio, and including the one in Austin as well. But what else is out there? So we go to Haven for Hope, which is the San Antonio's, essentially it's their homeless rehabilitation and transformation center, where they try to take people that are experiencing homelessness, get them housing, get them food, get them education, get them free doctor, dentist, optometrist. All that stuff is inside of that program, and they can basically work on themselves to be able to exit that program into an abode life. So they actually graduate out of that dormitory there into Section 8 homes, into reduced cost housing, and they can live their lives in there. But they're there for years as they're working to build savings, as they're getting job history and everything else in that program. And so we volunteer in the food kitchen there on site to help feed meals. So we'll go there for lunchtime and we'll serve 400 some odd meals to the people that come through. And these are all ages, veterans, elderly folks, all the way down to people who are infants that are coming through the lines, because there are families here. There's so many people that are there. And it's so awesome.
I wish you guys could see. I mean, he's like beaming. Like, you could just. Let me tell you something, because I do know that there are some believers who listen to the show, and if you listen to a gentleman like Phil talk about the things that he does and hear the passion in his voice and the look on his face, to try and convince me or anybody that this is not as high a quality human being as is possible, then we have a problem. Because, I mean, like, I'm sitting here talking to this guy, and I want to go out and, like, build a ramp now. I mean, like, it's contagious. And for everyone listening, this is an Indiana kind of centric show. This gentleman's down in Texas. But these ideas do not have to be hypothetical, right? Like,
not at
this
all.
kind of stuff needs to be done everywhere. And those are the kind of service projects that really are changing people's lives. Able-bodied people take those kinds of things for granted, right? The ability to leave their homes or get into a building. I mean, that's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's something that you definitely don't think about. And some of these homeowners, they'd never thought about it because this is the house they've been in for the last 20 years.
Yeah, sure.
But then something happened where they had to get knee surgery or something along those lines. And there was one case in particular, but he was getting a knee replacement. His knee rejected it. His body rejected that replacement. And so they take it out and they're supposed to try again. That was supposed to be the plan. And somehow within the scope of that, there was an infection that set in there. And eventually it got to the point to where they actually had to amputate his leg into like his mid-thigh type of region. And so his understanding of what he was supposed to do was getting a knee replacement and being able to walk just as normal as he's done for years.
To increase his mobility.
Right, out of his house. And now he's facing that he's going to have to be in a wheelchair through no fault of his own. It's just because, an infection set in during the process. And all of a sudden they had no infrastructure there to be able to accommodate someone with a wheelchair trying to get in and out of this house that was several feet off of the ground. And so that was a special project. We had already built a ramp in Austin that month, but we actually got a call from the executive director, contacted me to say, hey, this is going on. We need a huge team to come out of here. And so it was actually a group of mine from the Atheist Community of Boston, a set of our volunteers, and actually NVIDIA, one of the graphics card people that are local to that area. We came out with this huge team and built the largest ramp that I had ever seen. All the twists and turns that had to go because it has to comply with certain rules.
Sure.
So it was 4 feet or so off the ground, and we had to bring it out, turn it, and go all the way down his driveway. So it was almost 80 some odd feet long by the time everything was done, and it was huge. But this is something they didn't expect. It's something they didn't prepare for. They weren't ready for this, and all of a sudden he had to be able to get in and out of his house, or else they couldn't really discharge it from the hospital because he couldn't get in on his own, and his significant other couldn't bear that burden of trying to get him up all of those stairs.
Yeah, physically,
it was not going to be able to work. And so it was a huge case, and we were so proud of that one. It was just a lot of things coming together for that project. But one of the other big projects in Austin is one I love it to death. I love it so much. But it's called Austin Atheists Helping the Homeless there, and I'm the coordinator of that group up there in Austin. And we go out month after month, the first Sunday of every month, and we will hand out toiletries, feminine hygiene products, towels, face towels, flashlights, food, or whatever else to a huge population of folks that live in and near the downtown Austin area. This is in the heart of downtown. We're on 7th Street, right there in downtown Austin, under the I-35 bridge. We can easily, month after month, serve well over 200 people will come through that line because it's such a heavy population of individuals that are out there that need some assistance. And it's been amazing seeing the transition, because we come out there with these, Atheists Helping the Homeless shirts, and that, that draws some attention from some people. And years ago, and some people wouldn't even come through the line because they were like, no, they didn't feel comfortable. Or there was one young lady who went through the line but would kind of shout at us a little bit about, different verses and Jesus loves you, stuff like that, as she's going through the line getting items, mind you, the entire time. But maybe that was just what she needed to do to make herself feel better about accepting our help. But now people expect us. They save a spot for us. Like, they already know the lineup. They know where we're going to be. They know when we're going to be there. And so they're already getting there ready. So we have coffee and hot chocolate already at the ready. We have our clothes station set up. And so, boom, off they go to the races while we set up the main giveaway, all the water, dog food, cat food, all that stuff on the other side. And it's been amazing to go from being just tolerated out there by some individuals to being expected and loved, and people coming up and giving hugs to say, like, thank you so much for coming out here. And we gave away thermal underwear during the winter season. We gave away hundreds of blankets, for example, during that time. We gave away regular underwear, which is one of the more underserved items out there, just regular underwear. But we gave packs of 3 and 5 packs of underwear to the entire line that was there, and people just lost their mind. It was amazing. And they communicate with us now to say like, hey, this is what we need. So next month we're trying to do bus passes. So I'm going to order a collection of about 600 day passes from the local metro there in Austin to actually hand out those things, several per person that comes through the line, because transportation was another one of the large requests that we have. And we're in a position, thanks to the Atheist Community of Austin and thanks to all of the support that we receive from people around the world, to be perfectly honest, that we can actually do these larger type of scale things. And it's amazing to be in a privileged position to be able to do something like that and to have such an impact. And the fact that we're atheists, it makes it all the more pressing to do it now.
Absolutely.
Because,
well, you use the word, right, that that a lot of times we are tolerated at best, you know, and when you're doing these kind things and not doing them with any expectation of repayment or anything, to just say, like, just remember that we were atheists and we did this, you know, like that. You don't have to always assume that because someone's doing something nice that they have to be a Christian or they have to be anything, really, just good for goodness sake. And you guys are putting a great face on atheism, and you're doing wonderful things. You're changing minds and hearts, you know, because you have to imagine there's a lot of these people that if they were to be, you know, the recipient of these kindnesses and they're going out into the world and they were to hear someone say, oh, well, atheists are terrible people or dirty people, they're going to say, no, that's not true. You know, like there was this group of atheists that did, you know, this wonderful thing or that wonderful thing.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the best, I guess, side effects, because that was never my intent to go out here and to say that, oh yeah, we're atheists, but you know, it wasn't. My intent was to go out and to help in some small way, because my philosophy, especially when I, you know, moved out of religion and realized that I was indeed an atheist and actually learned that term, because I actually didn't know that term for a while, even though I wasn't a believer. I didn't identify because I didn't have the knowledge of that term. But it's not having a belief in the afterlife made me realize that we are only on this earth for a short time period. We get 60, 70, 80 years, if we're lucky, on this planet to be able to live, to be able to hold others, to be able to interact with others, have an effect, positive or negative, on other people's lives. And likewise, the individuals that are out here at the giveaways are also on this planet for that same brief period of time. And this may not be a situation that they want to find themselves in, and they're trying to get out. People that want to, some people, you know, will stay in there because they've just got accustomed, but others are actively trying to get out and trying to take advantage of the government programs. But it takes time. It takes years to move through that process, at least in the city of Austin. So I always have looked at it as I want to have an effect in their lives. It's a small thing. It's a very small thing to get a toothbrush and some toothpaste or some feminine hygiene products, or, you know, a couple bottles of water when it's super hot outside, or sunscreen, something like that. This is a small slice of their life. But if this is the only life that I have, if this is the only life that they are going to lead, then I want to have as much impact as I can, however small that may be, in their lives. And so when we go out there and we try to fulfill things, like people, you know, there's some guy that needed work boots for his job that he was starting in that next month, and we were able to get some collections together and buy him a set of brand new steel-toed work boots so that he can actually start that job, because he could not start without them.
Right, and that could change the entire course of the rest of his life. You know, to get that, and you know, or like the bus passes. That's the difference between getting to a job interview and not getting to a job interview.
Right.
You know, or things like that.
It's just those small things that you don't even consider, things that you wouldn't even think about. Flashlights that we incorporated last month were a huge hit for people that needed to be able to see a little bit, or lived in a darker part of town to where it was very difficult to see at night. And that was an invaluable thing, but that was brought on by a suggestion by people in the community, these friends and neighbors that we're serving in our community. And it's like, yeah, we can do that. Like, let's find the best way to get this done, and we're going to bring it to you. You know where to find us. We'll be here that next month, first Sunday. Boom, let's do this.
Sure.
And I've been tremendously proud of all the volunteers that have come out. You know, when I started and took over the group, it was a set of 3 of us, and we had a table, and we would fill it with a little bit of things. I would go to Sam's and buy bananas or oranges and stuff like that, and try to put something, even on this table that we're sitting in right here, was smaller than this.
Right.
And now, on average, we're using anywhere between 15 and 20 tables at a giveaway. Our volunteers range from 20 to 40 people, for volunteer side to actually run it, because we have so much going on. We need so much help running the different stations, the hot chocolate and Kool-Aid on one side, the clothing aisle on one side, the main aisle, which is this huge behemoth of a line that we have roped off with traffic stanchions just to more formally control the flow of traffic, because it's so long of a space. And it's just been incredible to see what people can do when they come out and put their hearts and minds to it. And no religion required. We're out there, and people seem to really love us and expect us to show up. It is an expectation that will be there, and it's wonderful to go, as I mentioned before, from being tolerated to being respected, liked, and really people that look forward to your presence, being there, looking forward to what you bring to the table and the help that you can give, and come out with a smile. And it makes my day. And it's been one of my best projects, I suppose, when I look at all the different things that I've done in the different cities and the volunteer community service stuff that I coordinate. That's probably one of my largest things that I get some of the most serious gratification from, is that project there.
Sure. Now, see, and I have a lot of respect, not only for the work that you're doing, but in the humility of saying, no, it's not that important that we have to make sure they know we're atheists. But, like, to me, like, I do think that there is value in that, and that there is importance in that, because, like you said, you had 3 people at the beginning, and now you've got, like, table upon table of volunteers. And those might be people who otherwise, if they didn't realize that you were an atheist group, would think, well, if I want to volunteer, I probably should go find my local church. You know, that a lot of people who think that that's the only avenue by which to engage in charity or to engage in kindness. And it is important for people to recognize, I don't believe in God, but I have kindness in my heart. What should I do with that kindness? You know, organizations like yours, the work that you're doing, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but God bless you. I mean, you know, it's wonderful what you guys are doing. And I'm trying, you know, in my own little localized way to try and kind of spread those messages. So thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to me today.
Yeah. And that's, it's one of the things, sorry, I don't want to hold you up.
No, I'm in on it. I feel bad taking up your time. You know, I stole you away from your table.
From the exhibit table.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the talks. I'm going to be talking at the Black Non-Believers, the Sea Cruise that will be happening, I believe it's in October of this year. So Black Non-Believers is a wonderful organization that's all around the U.S. And
they have a table, right?
They do have a table. Yeah, Mandisa Thomas is out there working that table, who's the president of Black Non-Believers. But that'll be my actual first speaking role. Usually I do podcast type of thing with the Atheist Experience, and I do video production for Godless Bitches, another one of the ACH productions. But that'll be my first speaking role. And the topic, of course, as you might assume, is community service. And the focus of that speech is for the atheist community, those that identify as non-believers, however you want to identify yourself, that we have perceptions, people have perceptions about what atheists are, what atheists believe, how they behave, how they act, everything. And a lot of those misconceptions stem from ignorance, from not being exposed to individuals that, like, they're not exposed to anything different. They hear it from TV, they hear it from their own church type of things. I know I definitely heard it in some of my upbringings. It was never referred to as atheist, but it was always people who reject the word of God, and it would be
godless,
it was always frowned upon, looked down upon, as if these people are lost souls. You know, they need to be saved. They are less than, you know, these saved people that we're in this sanctuary of saved individuals, and these individuals who reject the word, you know, they're not on the same level.
Right.
And so to battle that, community service, there's a lot of avenues to go about it, but I think community service is one of the most effective ways to get out there, because you're helping individuals who need help in the first place. That's the number one
has
goal.
Value unto itself.
Right there from the get-go. You're helping people in the small time that you have on this planet. You're helping others who also have only a short time on this planet to help their lives be a little bit better. And the small, whatever impact that you can do for them, that's worth something. But it also helps to change those minds that atheists, you know, are no help to anyone. They don't go out after a hurricane happens to help. But yet we do. Right, we go. With Foundation Beyond Belief, I went out with their humanist disaster recovery team down to Denham Springs, Louisiana. And me and Russell went down there to help rebuild people that were whose homes got destroyed and had to be completely torn down and rebuilt from the ground up. I was laying floor tile for the first time in my life.
Right.
Going out there, and here we were, this huge bunch of atheists, of non-believers that were out there, and there was no animosity towards us for being there, because of course there were lots of other people, some of whom were religious, but there was no, oh, what are these atheists doing here? It was, we need hands. We need to get them out here and, you know, do some work. We have to put this drywall up. We got to demo this wall. You know,
Right.
Your beliefs went out the window, and it helped to, and I really hope that it helped to change people's perceptions about who atheists are, what we believe, and that atheists are people that can care about our community, can have that impact in the community, and that community service is being visible in your community as a non-believer. If it's safe for you to do so, when you go out to do the food bank or something like that, if you're wearing an atheist shirt, it may draw some stares, you know, a few whispers like, oh my goodness, what's going on? You know, it may draw that.
What are they up to? But, you know, but you're right,
But it still
though.
changes things.
Because perceptions at the societal level don't change overnight. They change generationally, right?
Sure.
And generations are made up of years. Years are made up of months. Months are made up of days. And days, you know, like you have to fill each minute, each hour with this type of pushing back against these negative perceptions.
Right.
You know, you have to be doing it, and you are relentless. You're like, it's relentless positivity. And I love, you know, that there has to be this idea that it has to be one or the other, believer or non-believer. Like, dude, we can work together.
Yeah.
You know, we all agree that good is good. Like, we don't have to agree on the reasons why. You know, maybe you believe it's because it's God's will. Maybe I believe it's because we evolved to be a social species that benefits by helping one another.
Right.
As
And
long
that
as
helping people is worth it.
Exactly. And as long as we all agree that helping people is a good thing, then let's leave it there. Like, if we all want to help, let's help. You know, we all can have our own reasons for doing that. But
Sure.
let's do good in the world and leave all the hate and animosity at the door.
Yeah, so it's definitely been, I never expected to be in this platform, to be as such in the public eye, I suppose,
Sure.
when it comes to
now you're on
atheism.
There Is No Godcast. So you hit the big time.
Whoa there, like, it's just gotta get your card or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness. But yeah, it's definitely something that I love, and I love the fact that other atheists out there are getting more involved in their own communities. And as far as the San Antonio and Austin communities, I like being that force that say, like, I will plan this event. Let's do something different. And so, like, you know, just last week we went out and to paint graffiti for the first time, and it was several of us atheists out there, and we told people who we were. You know, we were FACT, the Free Thinkers Association of Central Texas, and we're out there just schlepping along, painting these sides of this huge drainage canal with people from all walks of life. There was a church group there, there were several different religious groups there, and there were some just individuals that were around on that side, but we were all working together for the common good, because we all recognize that this is a problem that's not going to be solved unless we do something about it. You know, regardless of your religious stripes, when you're talking about helping those who are experiencing homelessness, or you're talking about people that need help getting out of their homes and to be able to reclaim their independence in their lives and their dignity of being able to just get out of the house on their own, we all should be able to recognize that the problem is not going to fix itself. It's going to take human hands to solve these problems that we recognize around us.
Right.
And so us working together is the only way that we're going to make an impact on that side. And so, damn it, jump out there.
And I try my best. I get myself into trouble sometimes, but I try not to take too many shots. But, like, to your point, it takes work, not thoughts and prayers, right? Like, you need to actually get out there and build a ramp. You can't pray a ramp into existence. Like, that doesn't tend to happen.
Like, I mean, thoughts and prayers, like, it's, if you want to start there, then fine. But as long as that gets you to the eventual point of, okay, so now what do we need to do?
Sure. If that's a
this?
motivational point, to start with.
If that's what you need to get started, then do what you need to do to get started, as long as you end with the point of, now what action do we need to take?
Right.
And, like, using the knowledge around us, you know, gathering evidence, all those lovely
you guys,
scientific.
I can talk to you all day. He's just so excited, and I'm like getting all pumped up just talking to you.
Yeah, it's an awesome thing, but I love doing it, and that's I mean, even we're gonna have the service project this Sunday.
Sure.
And the plane that I bought, I made sure that I could do the entire service project that's gonna take place on Sunday, because all the other trips I would have had to cut it off in order to get back to catch the plane. So I specifically chose my flight so that I can do that project at the end, because I'm I loved it. I had to cut it off last year. Me and Tracy Harris were in Oklahoma, and we were I was out there doing the project, but we had to go because we were driving back to Austin. I had to was dropping her off, and so it's like we had to get back in a reasonable time, and so I had to leave about an hour and a half into the session. So now I'm just like, it's not happening. I want the whole thing. We're doing this. And it's amazing to see so many people coming together. And last year we were packing like macaroni packages, stuff like that, for those that are experiencing homelessness or low income. And so I'm very excited for that project this year. And so I'm pumped.
Yeah, I can tell. I couldn't tell at all. So, I mean, obviously, like, Texas is Texas, Indiana is Indiana, guys.
Yes.
And if you're listening to this, you're more than likely in the Indiana area. But just know that this is what Northern Indiana Atheist is doing. You know, like, Phil is here, and he is sharing with us his passion and his experiences down in Texas, and they are doing good work down there. But if you are hearing all of this and you're identifying with it, please check out Northern Indiana Atheist. Check out our website. Check out our calendar of events. We're doing a lot of these same types of things. And frankly, I'm going to steal some of these ideas because these are some great ideas.
Please do.
Yeah, please do. Like, you know, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery and all that stuff. Phil, thanks again so much. Any parting words?
No, I will kind of just echo what you just said there, Noah. It's definitely doesn't have to be just a Texas thing. These things are happening in Texas for sure. But when it comes to, you know, going out once a month to go to where, you know, there's a collection of those that are experiencing homelessness in your neck of the woods, to say, you know, hey, you can help out with, you know, toothbrush, toothpaste, stuff like that. If you have a collection of people that are willing to do that, you know, pulling your resources together to say, okay, I'm going to buy a set of 45 bottles of water and it'll run about $3.30 here. You know, 144 toothbrushes you can get on Amazon for about $9, for example.
Sure, yeah.
Like, you know, getting your resources together. And if you ever have ideas like that, you can always contact me at austinahh.org, or just atheist.help also work as well. Atheist.help. And we can give you lists of all the resources that we've accumulated, because we've had to do so much research to find what was the best way to serve people in the most, you know, as efficiently as possible, but also serving them well.
Right.
And so that it takes a lot of work. But yeah, your local food banks are around. You know, contact your city to see if they have any programs that you can get involved in, like the graffiti program. That was just something that the city put on, the city of San Antonio in that case. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's do it. And the kids can get involved in those things. And so it's definitely something to look into, see what's needed in your local area. You're the best resource for what's needed in that local area because you're in that area. Sure. You should hopefully have the best feel of what's needed there. And if you don't, reach out to some of those
NIA,
organizations.
guys, like, this is what we're here for. And man, oh man, if you could listen to this and not get motivated to help, I don't know what more I can say or do to help you. Check Phil out on the Atheist Experience. Check out, I'm stumbling over my words because I'm just so excited. This has been fantastic. Thanks so much again for taking the time.
Sure, no problem. Thank you so much for having me. It's awesome.
Dude, guys, come on. I mean, if you don't get pumped up listening to that, I already did all of my, pimping and hawking kind of towards the end of the interview there with Phil. But I kind of listened back to it, obviously, as I'm recording the intro and outro for this show, and I'm just like, oh, God, he's so awesome. So, take his advice, take my advice, if you're listening to this wherever you are, whether you're in Texas, whether you're in South Bend, whether you're in Alaska, or anywhere in between, get out there and do something. Just listening back to that interview kind of gets me all pumped up all over again. So I hope that it had that same effect on you. I hope that you found some value in what Phil had to say and all of the great work that he is doing down there in his area. I hope that it gives you at least some form of inspiration to get out there and do something in your area, regardless of where your area might be. And that's really all I've got for you guys on today's show. Reminder that the bonfire campaign is back up and running again. We had a couple of people order shirts. And I think that's just kind of how it works now, is that really anytime somebody orders something, that kicks off a new round of shipping opportunities for you guys to get your merch, your There Is No Godcast merch. I'm actually, like always, when I'm recording this show, I'm wearing my There Is No Godcast hoodie, which is a super comfortable hoodie, and I love my premium t-shirt as well. It's so soft, and oh my gosh, I just want to snuggle up in bed with it now. So go check out the bonfire. The links for that will be, it'll be in the show notes. It'll be on the Facebook page. Maybe I'll tweet it out again. I haven't tweeted it in a while, if that happens to be your social media modus operandi. So, yeah, don't forget to check us out on Northern Indiana Atheist on the Facebook page, northernindianaatheist.com. Please, 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 if you haven't already, check out the Atheist Experience. Matt Dillahunty, Phil Session, both wonderful, classy, insightful gentlemen who were kind enough to share some of their time with me at the convention. Dude, you are missing out. I actually had someone who's a friend of mine after the Dillahunty episode aired who did go check out his rant, his particular video that he and I discussed in the interview, and he was just like, he was blown away by it. I can't tell you how blown away I was by it. I'm sure you would feel that way as well. So check out the Atheist Experience. Check out Matt Dillahunty and Phil Session and all of the great work that they are doing for atheist advocacy. And yeah, that's about all I've got for you guys today. So rate and review the show, yada, yada, yada. And we'll be back next time. We're going to do one more show, I think, I'm sure at least one more show, but I believe that'll wrap up the convention material. I've got a few other interviews that were a bit on the shorter side, so it's going to be kind of an anthology. 2 weeks from today, tune back in to check those out. We've got some really cool interviews coming, shorter but sweeter kind of thing. And so I can't wait to share them with you guys. That's all I got. We will see you guys next time, and in the meantime, don't stop not believing. Oh my God, you guys, 10 episodes, we did it! Just saying.